The podcast you're about to enjoy is part of the LOWTREE Studios podcast network. To enjoy great podcasts like this one, go now to the LOWTREEstudios.com. And remember, get to the podcast.
Wreck My Podcast!
Do you like scary movies? Well, we certainly do, especially around Halloween time. Slash into this classic 90s horror film with us on this week's episode of Wreck My Halloween.
Wreck My Podcast!
Welcome to the Wreck My Podcast. This week, we're going to talk about the winner of the poll from Instagram, which wasn't A Nightmare Before Christmas, which we are pretty happy about. It was Scream, so we're talking about Scream. I'm here with two of my guests. Krager's missing, but he eats ice cream like Dewey. It's Cam.
Thank you. Really appreciate it. I put the cream in Scream.
Yes. He's not edited for TV. It's Joe.
Nope, strictly NC-17 rating.
Yeah, you are. We all know it. And my mom and dad are going to be so mad at me. I'm your host, Jordan. Guys, I love that Cam texted me about Dewey eating ice cream because I was thinking the same thing. I never noticed that scene before.
It's awful.
And this time, but it's so funny because the sheriff guy, the chief, is smoking, and then Dewey, every time he smokes, is eating the ice cream.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, it's so funny.
It's really good, yeah, but he eats the ice cream with like just his lips. It's like,
yeah, not licking ice cream, sucking ice cream.
he slurps it.
Honestly, it was hard watching Dewey at all, having seen Scary Movie.
Oh yeah, and make him be doofy.
Yeah, that's all I could think of was just Doofy.
You know,
especially
what's so
even when he
stupid?
goes like to answer the phone when like the killer calls Sydney at his house, at their house, and they freak out. He puts the phone down, he picks it up, he's just like, "Hello."
It's so dumb because me and Madison both really wanted to watch Scary Movie after watching it, and I can't find Scary Movie streaming anywhere.
Really?
Like, you have to rent it. Yeah, it's not on any of the platforms.
Oh, you have to rent it?
That's strange.
It's like what, $2?
Yeah, it's $2 or it's $3, but like, I don't know.
You're
I was
Texas
like, it's
rich
not
now.
worth it.
$2
for me.
is nothing.
I know. We have that oil money. So before we get going on this episode, let's play the trailer real quick because maybe there's some people out there who haven't rewatched it yet, and we want to get you guys ready to see what the movie's about and get excited to go rewatch it, or just listen to us spoil everything for you. But before we watch the trailer, I want to remind you that we do have a YouTube channel, youtube.com/WreckMyPodcast, where you can see the
All our
video
pretty faces.
of this trailer.
Yeah.
Yeah, and all our
And
pretty
you can
faces.
see my jawline slowly disappear over the weeks.
All that food out there in Tennessee.
All the barbecue.
We're actually missing Krager this week because he's going to be moving temporarily to Georgia for work.
He's doing some work out there. I looked up his city that he's moving to, and it is the second most crime-riddled area of Georgia.
Oh, dang. That's no good.
No.
But also, is Georgia known for their crime?
Probably.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
I mean,
Sorry
like,
about that, Krager.
Atlanta's a huge city, so there's probably a lot of crime there, the same way like Los Angeles and stuff.
That's true. Krager will be on every episode later on that he's not being robbed.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so let's watch this trailer.
Hello?
Hello.
Who is this?
You tell me your name, I'll tell you mine.
I don't think so.
What's that noise?
Popcorn.
You making popcorn?
Well, I'm getting ready to watch a video.
Really? What?
Oh, just some scary movie.
You like scary movies?
Uh-huh.
You never told me your name.
Why do you want to know my name?
I want to know who I'm looking at.
Someone is playing a deadly game.
It all began with a scream over 911.
Someone who's seen one too many scary movies. Now, he's taken his love of fear
Hello?
Hello, Sydney.
one step too far.
Do you like scary movies?
What's the point? They're all the same. Some stupid killer stalking some big-breasted girl who can't act, who's always running up the stairs when she should be going out the front door. It's insulting.
There are certain rules
that one must abide by in order to successfully survive a scary movie. Number 1, you can never have sex.
So it's me.
Never, ever, ever, under any circumstances, say, I'll be right back. Because you won't be back.
Get another beer, you want one?
Yeah, sure.
I'll be right back!
He didn't make the rules.
The police are always on track. If they watch prom night at same time.
He just kills by them. Don't answer the phone. Don't open the door. Don't try to hide.
Everybody's a suspect!
Not scared, are you?
Squeak.
Okay, so there's that trailer. So I'm going to start with Cam. Cam, have you seen this movie before? And when was the last time you've seen this movie?
Yeah, this movie is a scream, baby. No, but for real, we...
Cat butt.
Last time... Ellen, get out of here.
There's a cat butt on your screen.
Last time I saw this was maybe about 3 or 4 years ago. We did, with my friend Lauren and her husband Colin and a big group of our friends, like Cole and everybody, we did weekly screenings of different series. And so we did the entire Scream franchise.
Very cool.
Like over the course of 4 weeks or whatever.
The Scream franchise is actually pretty good. I haven't seen... The third one's the only one I haven't seen, which is kind of funny. I've seen 4, not 3. But it's pretty good. Second one was good. The fourth one was good. I like them all. So
yeah,
that's a fun franchise to
seen
do.
Before. I really like it too. For someone who hates horror movies, like I like how funny it is and how much they make fun of just cinema. That's why I like it.
Definitely more satirical for sure. And then Joe, how about you? When was the last time you seen this movie?
Shoot, it was a long time ago. It's probably easily been about 10 years.
Oh, dang, that's a long time, man. Have you seen the sequels?
No, actually. I've seen the second one. Haven't seen the third. And I haven't seen the newest one either.
How have I seen more iterations of this film than both of you guys?
Well, I mean, I hear
Scream
the third one was the worst, so I wasn't missing much, but, you know.
Yeah.
And when it comes to horror movies, Scream never really captivated me.
Yeah, it's just kind of a comedy.
Well, it's not really a horror. Well, here's the thing. I'm going to tell you a little fun fact about this. So when they were making this movie, they were, again, being told by the MPAA that it was going to be an NC-17, and they tried to cut a few things out and shorten a few scenes so it wasn't so violent and everything, and they were still holding their gun. Nope, NC-17. And the producer... I'm not going to say his name because I'm going to tell you later who it is. The producer went to the MPAA and said, hey, don't think of it as a horror film. Think of it as a dark comedy. And when he said that, they decided, okay, you're right. It can be an R rating. So it's kind of funny how I feel like
what was in there that would have made it an NC-17, though?
Well, there was a lot of, so there were a few more graphic scenes that got shortened for the theatrical releases. Like when Steve gets gutted, they actually wanted a more long shot of his gut spilling out and like a close-up of just like organs spilling out and stuff like that. And then I think that the sex scene was supposed to be a little bit more oofa. So they cut that too and everything. But I feel like the MPAA is so wish-washy because we've read so many things where they're like, yeah, this is going to have an X rating. And then someone goes in and say, but guys, it's me. And they're like, you're right, it's you. And we'll give it an R.
I had no idea the studios had such an influence on the MPAA.
Oh, it's all politics, man. Like, that's why when you see a rating, I'm like, they're so bogus. It's all politics. Who you know, who you can convince to put it where you want it. It's like, also, oofy. Okay, so I see this movie. I watch this movie probably once every year or two. And the first time I saw it was probably 5 or 6 years ago. And since then, I've fallen in love with the franchise.
Yeah.
And just this is definitely every year Halloween time about we watch Scream.
Also think about how iconic that mask became too.
Oh my gosh, seriously. That thing is like probably one of it's up there with Jason's hockey mask and everything. It's up there.
Was that a well-known costume before this movie?
No, so there was, I forget what the toy company, or it was a toy company that made costumes, and they were told,
Halloween.
hey, we want to... It's not Spirit. It's something called like New Fun Limited or something like that. And they're the ones who came up with the ghost face mask, but they licensed it out to them because they wanted to keep the rights because they knew it was going to be a big seller. So it was kind of around before the movie, but it didn't blow up until the movie happened.
Do you know that
and now
Wu-Tang
it's
Clan
so
tried to sue them?
Why?
Because of Ghostface Killer.
Oh my gosh. Well, you know what's funny is he's not Ghostface isn't his name in the movie.
Really?
Because if you look on the package says Father Death for that costume. So the costume is the Father Death costume. But just they call the kids
Just from that
jokingly
line.
call him Ghostface, and that's how everyone started calling him Ghostface. So I don't think he was meant to be Ghostface in the script. So that's probably why they didn't win that argument there. But let's talk about this movie a little bit here. Sydney's house looks so 1990s. They even have the little mallard duck statues on the coffee table.
yeah.
Why was that a thing?
I like
Did
your
you guys
house.
have mallard duck statues?
We didn't, but I knew plenty of people that did.
Oh, it's such the worst thing of the 90s.
It
I'm
shows
with
that
you,
you're
Joe.
into nature.
Yeah.
I'm with you, Joe. I like their house too, only because every house featured in this movie was a beautiful giant mansion out in Santa Rosa.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And then none of the guys in this movie seem to actually be friends. They're supposed to be friends,
I think
but
that
they all
all the girls just
don't
knew
like
each other, but the guys were just around. And they had to be friends.
I guess.
Yeah,
I
it's like they
guess.
were
But then-
only friends because of their girlfriends.
Yeah.
But then what was Randy doing there? Because Randy seems not to be friends with any of them, but he's hanging out and he doesn't have a girlfriend.
Randy's a simp.
That's true. He kind of is.
Yeah.
He just
is.
he got connected to them because of his love for horror films. He likes horror films. Shaggy liked horror films.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny
the
because
the hot
Rand-
psychopath guy liked horror films.
Yeah, Billy Loomis.
Yeah.
Was there any point in the movie that he didn't look like a complete psychopath?
No, the
They
entire
and I
time.
think that was the whole point, is because you're supposed to think it's a red herring that, oh man, he seems like he's going to be the killer, so he can't be the killer, and then he ends up being the killer.
Yeah, I love that they
Yeah.
threw all that out when they're all sitting in the quad at high school, and they're like, you're the killer, you did it, and they're like, if you go back and rewatch that dialogue after knowing what happens, it's really, really awesome.
Well,
Yeah.
that's what's great about this franchise is they do a really good job of kind of jerking you around to be like, this is too obvious, it can't be that, or it's so obvious that it is that. You really don't know what to believe in this movie because they're playing off the tropes while also using the tropes, which makes it very meta because they're talking about themselves while they're talking.
Right.
Well, and it's funny
great.
because, I mean, a lot of their inspiration or a lot of what they do came from horror films.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because you kind of get that with the extreme fanatics of films. Look at all the people that would dress up like the Joker and try to be just creepy for social media notoriety and things like that.
Yeah, remember the clown thing with Wrinkles the Clown and all that?
Yeah,
that was,
exactly.
Wrinkles the Clown was so good, though.
People get
That
obsessed with a certain topic and then just run with it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Even
I
to
agree,
the most
I agree.
extreme.
Gail and Dewey getting together in this movie. What did you guys think about that? Because I don't like that aspect of this movie.
Well, I only saw him as Doofy, so I didn't like it either.
Special Officer Dewey reporting.
Hey, Doofy, smell my fingers.
Yeah, what do you think, Cam?
I was just whatever. It felt like it had to be there because that happens in every horror movie too, where unlikely people have a shared tragedy, so they fall in love.
Yeah.
And so I was
I
hoping,
like that it was real, that they actually fell in love.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, they got married after this in real life.
But I don't know. I felt like it was over the top and dumb to be over the top and dumb. So that's why I
agree.
bought it. But I did.
Again, if you look at this through the lens of satire, then yes, it's fine. But if you look at this through the lens of a real movie, there's no way that it's good.
yeah, you're right.
It was driving me nuts that they didn't call cell phones cellular.
A cellular.
Every time. Where's your cellular? I need the cellular. He has a cellular. Was there a time you guys called it a cellular?
Well, yeah, when they first came out, and not very many people had them.
I guess that's true. I always called it a mobile phone back then.
No, I called it a cellular.
I called it a cellular.
Okay, I guess I was just the peon over here. I didn't know the proper terminology.
I mean, you're right. Like now, you're ahead of the curve. That's what they call them now. A mobile phone or a mobile device.
Or a smartphone now is what we got going on
Yeah.
and everything. I think we just call them phones now because we
Mobile
assume that,
intellectual telephonic device.
Yeah.
yes, yeah, it's super
Or I
smart.
call it
It's got
fancy square.
fancy square, the moving square.
Your
So,
fruit device.
I have a question for both of you because you guys are a little bit more into the logistics side of making movies.
Yeah.
I noticed they did quite a few Dutch angle-esque because it wasn't low and diagonal. It was diagonal but level. But they did this swimming thing where it kind of went back and forth, like you felt like you were on a boat, but just subtly.
Yeah.
So you almost felt like it was someone watching them moving a little bit and breathing. That was pretty cool. Is there a name for that?
Well, I mean, just anytime you go handheld, it simulates someone being there. But that rocking effect is literally just there to make you uneasy.
Okay, that makes sense. So, because it's not something I see in a lot of movies. I know, like in the Bourne movies, there's the handheld thing where it's like, oh, you feel like you're in the action,
Right.
all that. I've never seen the swimming motion of it before.
Yeah, they kind of do it in Jaws when you're actually in the water, where they dip above and below the water.
That's true, and that was actually realistic, though. The handheld camera on a boat moving, that's the actual movement.
Yeah.
So it was kind of cool that you got that same, like, on the ocean move and everything. And I like that it's just to make you feel uneasy, a little queasy about what's going on right now. That's pretty cool. Finally, I want to tell you guys a little bit of a thing here. So Billy states that corn syrup was used as fake blood to trick Sidney into believing that he was stabbed earlier in the film. So here's a problem with the movie. So Billy has the fake blood on him, the corn syrup, and then he actually gets stabbed because Stu and Billy stab each other. If their plan would have worked and they would have made it out and Sidney would have died and the dad would have died and they would have been taken to the police, the police would have done a forensics on their clothes and seen that there was blood and corn syrup. And then there would have been a lot of questions of, what's this corn syrup doing on your
Why do you have
clothing?
fake blood on you?
Yeah, exactly. So I think their whole plan would have unraveled even if they would have succeeded.
It's true. I do like I like that when he does get fake stabbed, though, there's no holes in his shirt. So if you're paying attention, you immediately know that it's fake.
Yes, 100%.
But because when they actually do stab each other, stab anyone else, they make a point to show the slits. So it's like actually like a cool little thing if you're still like,
paying attention.
Why is he not actually being stabbed?
And the quote unquote fake blood in the movie is way more red than the quote unquote real blood in the movie.
Yeah.
So you can see that comparison too if you're kind of paying attention as well. So I have a question for both of you. Did it wreck your Halloween?
No.
Nope.
Me neither. I love this franchise.
It's a classic
I'm so
Halloween
happy.
film.
Yeah, this actually
I'm
kicked
so
off
happy.
my Halloween. After I haven't really watched a lot of like spooky movies or anything yet. After I watched this on Friday, I was like, I'm gonna watch some more, and I started watching I watched Hocus Pocus, and I was like, this is great. Like, it's Halloween time for me.
Yeah, no, it's a great movie to kick you into Halloween time, and I really want to watch all of them in the franchise again now because I'm like so on board with it. I'm like, I love it, and it's funny. I have such a bad memory that I didn't remember what the twist in the fourth one was.
Oh yeah,
and Madison always makes fun of me. She's like, it must just be great to live your life and not remember anything.
All there is,
and it is
the only amount of room that we have in our head for anything important is already filled up with every Pokemon name.
Exactly. That was the argument my mom used to always make when I was a kid. Why can't you study for this test? You know every Pokemon. I'm like, yeah, because that's something I care about, Mom.
Yeah, you're like, every Pokemon is in here. I can't.
all 800. Yeah. I can't remember anything else.
No. You have to know what their name is, what their type is, and who they evolve into.
Exactly, and what they sound like.
Yeah.
All right. So before we move into the info about this movie, another place you can find info is wreckmypodcast.com, where you can find info about our Amazon link. You can find info about our episodes. You can find info about our merchandise at Redbubble. Wreckmypodcast.com is your one-stop shop for information about this podcast.
That's
so
awesome.
go ahead, check out that thing, and let me tell you about some info about this movie. It came out December 20th, 1996. You know, the real spooky season.
Yeah, Christmas.
December. When you have to see your family for Christmas. It's real spooky. So this movie came out then.
I mean, it is. Yeah.
It had a $14 million budget, and it grossed $103 million in the USA.
Wow.
So it's very, very good success.
Yeah, great
Very
success.
good success. It was filmed almost exclusively in Santa Rosa, California. Beautiful area up north in California. Yeah. If you're ever in the California area, as Charlie Shaw would say, go check out Santa Rosa. Okay, the working title for this movie was Scary Movie, which is funny that the parody
that is funny.
Is that why
it's
they
like the whole
picked
Blue
it?
Harvest? Yeah, that's why they picked Scary Movie as the title, because they knew it was the working title up until release of the movie.
Oh, that's awesome.
That is funny.
So cool. I love those little tidbits in there.
Yeah.
And then, can you guys guess what the critic and audience score is for Rotten Tomatoes?
I'll say over 91.
Okay.
Ooh, I'd put audience in the 80s and critics in the 70s.
So Joe got way closest.
Yeah.
78% for critics, 79% for audience.
Oh, wow. Really? It's
right
still
there.
that low for audience?
I know.
It, like-
it's because some people don't get it, I don't think.
Yeah, but I just remember how much it took over the world when we were that age.
Yes. Oh, 100%. Like, look at all the parodies that
Yeah.
have spun off from it.
Yeah.
It was huge.
Yeah.
It was probably, I honestly think it's one of Wes Craven's best pieces that he's done.
Probably.
I know Nightmare on Elm Street. I know The Hills Have Eyes. I know all these things. I think this is one of the best things he's ever done.
I would agree with that. I'd put the
Yeah.
first Nightmare on Elm Street as number 1. Scream is probably number 2.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
Scream's
like
great.
all. Yeah, they're real close. And actually, what's funny about Scream is it's the only horror franchise ever that all the sequels are directed by the same person.
Oh, really?
Wes Craven was directed every single one. Now, obviously, that's going to end because Scream 5, he died a few years back.
he's
He
dead
can't
now.
direct Scream 5, which has been announced. But up to this point, it is the only horror franchise to have that happen to it.
Right.
As we were saying, Wes Craven is the director, and he also, I think he wrote this. No, he didn't write this. I think someone else wrote this movie.
I actually might have written it. It wouldn't surprise
No,
me.
he wrote it. He didn't write it. It was written by a guy named Kevin Williamson.
Oh, okay.
But Wes Craven did direct it, and Nightmare on Elm Street, all the Scream movies, Hills Have Eyes from the 70s, and I think Wes Craven even directed the remake of Hills Have Eyes from 2007. Is that true?
I don't know. I have no idea. I haven't
don't
seen
know.
either of
Don't
them.
know. Okay.
I haven't seen The Hills Have Eyes in over 10 years.
I've never seen the movie, don't really care to, but the guy who wrote this movie, Kevin Williamson, he also wrote I Know What You Did Last Summer, The
Makes sense.
Faculty, and Cursed. So it's like all those 90s slasher films that he
Yeah.
wrote. But what's super cool is that he also wrote the Scream TV series, which I haven't checked out yet. I really want to watch
a
the Scream
series?
TV show. Yeah, on MTV there was a Scream TV show for like 2 or 3 seasons.
Oh, wow.
It looked good to me. And then also, I really like this show called The Following. It's about like cults and stuff like that. It has Kevin Bacon.
I like that show.
Yeah, Kevin Williamson wrote for The Following as well.
Nice.
Yeah,
It's a
so
good
that's
show.
pretty
First
cool.
season is great. Other ones
Yeah,
after that are
it's
just okay.
Such a good show. Yeah, I like the character. I like the actors in it. The real star of the movie is Drew Barrymore.
Yeah.
all 5 minutes of her in this. Although what's funny is they did give her top billing, and they promoted the movie like she was going to be the star in the whole movie, which is what was so cool about it, because Drew Barrymore actually had a hand in saying, hey, if you're going to hire me for this role instead of for Sydney, because then people will know anyone's fair game in this movie. So I thought that's pretty cool that she was
That's
on board
really
for that.
actually insightful. That's actually really
Yeah.
dope.
Yeah,
Well, I know that
so
she,
way to go.
even with Donnie Darko, she found that script on a coffee table, in a restaurant, and was like, "This is really good." Called the screenwriter, was like, "I'm going to produce it if you give me this role."
Yeah, the more I learn about Drew Barrymore, the more I'm like, she's actually
She's cool.
a really smart actress
Yeah.
for some of the stuff she's done. I mean, I know she's done what was that, like Charlie's Angels and some stuff like that. But I mean,
They probably
she
offered
really
her
does
so
kinda-
much money for it, though.
I know, and you
Oh,
can't
yeah.
pass it up.
And when you get the call saying you're going to be in Charlie's Angels with
Yeah.
Cameron Diaz and Lucy Liu, I mean, that's a little hard to
and with
pass up.
Dan Forsythe, who was the original Charlie in Charlie's Angels, is going to be reprising his role. I mean, it just
Bill
made
Murray
sense
too,
at the time.
as Bosley.
Yeah, and Bill Murray, I mean, it made sense at the time. Now we look back and laugh, but I mean, it probably made sense at the time. So the guy, Roger Jackson, who is the phone voice, and he's the phone voice on all 4 movies of Ghostface. He is
It
also
really wasn't
Mojo.
a voice changer that they used.
No, it's a guy, Roger Jackson, and he's Mojo Jojo from the Powerpuff Girls.
Ah, nice.
Excuse me, sir, But can you please direct me to the location of where I may locate some eggs, for I would like to purchase them, so that they can travel home with me and I can eat them today. And maybe tomorrow.
Yeah. How cool is that? That's so cool.
That's the coolest
I love
part
it.
of the whole movie.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
He actually was only supposed to voice it for the filming, and they were going to dub it in after, but Wes Craven loved his performance so much that he was like, no, we're keeping him as the voice. You can't beat that voice.
Right.
So he kind of like forced his way into a job.
Look at this picture I'm about to send you guys. But yeah, keep talking. Keep talking.
All right, so Neve Campbell is the real star. Is it Neve or Nev? I think it's Neve
Nev.
Campbell, right?
Neb.
Campbell,
Nev.
Party of Five. She plays Sydney. She was in The Craft. More recently, she was in House of Cards.
Yep.
We have Skeet Ulrich. Skeet Ulrich plays Billy.
I don't like the name Skeet as a first name.
Me neither. Who named this guy?
Lil Jon
Yeah,
is
right?
his dad.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just how
And
he
then
was
we
made.
have Skeet. Yeah, he was named after how he's made. My name is Buick. So, so Courtney Cox, she plays Gail Weathers. We all know her from Friends and Cougar Town. You know what's funny about Courtney Cox? She was in an episode of Seinfeld before she ever started Friends, which I think is pretty cool.
Really?
Yeah,
Do you know
and
what
it's
episode?
a bummer. I don't know what episode. I didn't look that much up of it.
Morning.
Good morning.
How'd you sleep?
Hey, you are on the couch tonight, young lady. You were all over my side.
I was not.
Come on, I was sleeping with one cheek off the bed.
By the way, you know, you're falling way behind on the I love yous.
No, 12-8.
No, it's 15-8.
I mean, I know I can't beat you. I'm just trying to stay competitive.
All right, come on, let's get some breakfast.
I'm also kind of disappointed Krager wasn't on this episode because Courtney Cox was in an episode of Murder, She Wrote, too. And we all know that he loves that show.
He does, yeah.
Let's see here. Rose McGowan played Tatum. We remember her from our Biodome and Encino Man episodes. But most importantly, Monkey Bone.
Yeah!
You knew I had to mention
Monkey
it for Cam over
Bone.
here. Monkey Bone with Rose McGowan. Rose McGowan won third best boobs that year in some type of like show, in some type of award show, and she's the only one who didn't show her boobs.
I believe it.
And won the award.
Did you see her walking in the garage? I believe it.
Yeah, that scene was it triggered a lot of teenage feelings.
Yes, the hormonies were going for sure for a lot of teenagers.
Yeah. Also, her death so good.
Okay, we'll talk about that when we get to the plot because I have a question for you guys about her death.
Oh, the answer is
I
no.
wanted
It's
to-
impossible. But yes, it's great.
Okay, that's my question.
Yeah.
I'm like, logistically, could a garage door lift anyone,
With that,
even a child?
Not with that type of garage. One of the old school heavy wooden ones could.
Yes, but not the garage. Like the garages like that go up in panels. They like a slight breeze would knock over those panels. There's no way it's holding a human body up to the top.
Yeah.
That would not work.
I don't think those motors could handle
At
the
all.
weight.
Yeah.
Not at all. Not at all. I don't think so either.
Yeah, but she'd just be bogged down, and it would just be that upskirt shot for like 20 minutes.
Yeah, and then Ghostface would come behind and stab her in the back, and it'd be done. But
Yeah, it's good
also, I
filmmaking.
love how when she's going through, and from the backside, it looks like she can't make it through because her boobs are too big.
It looks
but
like
from
she
the
could
front
totally
side,
make it through.
She
But
could.
yeah, from the front side, her boobs are already through it, so it's like
Her
and you're-
shoulders are through. It looks like all she
Everything's
needs to do
through.
is just, worm her way out.
Yeah.
Yeah, her waist is so skinny too. I'm like, there's no way your waist is what's causing the problem
Yeah.
here.
She should have been able to like totally just like slip and slide right through that thing.
Yeah, I think that originally the garage door was supposed to land on her head and break her neck, but when they were filming, they thought it looked cooler to have her get
It
stuck
does look
in-
cooler. Looks way cooler.
Yeah, and I agree. It's like a scarier scene, but just from the reality point of it, it could never happen at all. We have David Arquette, who played Dewey. We mostly know him from marrying Courtney Cox and the downfall of WCW. Doofy.
Nobody bother
have-
me when I'm vacuuming my room.
Isn't he? Isn't he also in Evolution or Eight-Legged Freaks? One of those.
He's in Eight-Legged Freaks.
not
He's
in
not in
Evolution.
Evolution.
We watched
He's
that
in
one.
Eight-Legged Freaks.
Oh
though.
yeah, who's the other one? Who's the white guy in Evolution?
David Duchovny.
Yeah,
or
see,
something Duchovny.
David's.
Yeah, Davids. It's all the Davids. We have Matthew Lillard, who plays Stewart. He's Shaggy.
He's Shaggy.
So
And he's
there
an
you go.
SLC punk.
Yeah,
And
I
so-
was
and
thinking
without a
about
panel.
it. Has he done anything since then? Because I've only known him from this, SLC Punk, and Scooby-Doo.
I know that he
Well,
was in
he's the-
something recently that was important.
Yes, he does. He does a few live action things here and there,
Political
but
campaign?
he's mostly just the voice of Shaggy now. Like he's taken over the voice of Shaggy for all the Scooby Doo stuff. So
Oh, really?
That's
like
kind
even
of
the
what he
cartoons and
does.
stuff.
Yeah.
All the animated shows and everything.
Oh, good for him. That's a good gig.
I mean, he's great
Yeah.
at that Shaggy voice. He's so good at
oh
it.
yeah,
Perfect.
He looks
with
like
it, yeah.
Shaggy too.
Yeah.
Now, Jamie Kennedy plays Randy, and I love Jamie Kennedy so much because Joe and I used to watch Malibu's Most Wanted all the time.
Yeah.
And he's B-Rad from Malibu's Most Wanted.
Yeah, he is.
He's also the guy that
traffic, looking for my chapstick, getting kind of bored. Hey, there's a Ford Maverick.
he's also the guy that is peeing on the bush in Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's such a deep cut.
What was that?
I love that.
He was also in
Do you have a special bond with this bush?
he was in the Mask sequel too.
Oh, he was in Son of the Mask?
Yeah, yeah.
You
And
guys
then-
saw
God,
Son of
that's
the
awesome.
Mask?
No, I just remember the trailer when I was a kid. And then I kid you not, if you see my cat's paw real quick, she keeps on trying to touch Joe's head with her paw from the back
that's so
of the
funny.
computer.
Hi, Ellen.
But then the he was also, remember his show like Jamie Kennedy X or whatever it was, where it was like a
I
prank
Yeah.
show.
Mm-hmm, I remember that
It was
thing.
like Diet Punked.
Yeah, it was.
Exactly,
It was
that's exactly
not very
what it was.
good. So we have Liev Schreiber, who shows up for a minute as Cotton Weary, but that's about it. If you don't know who Liev Schreiber is, he's Sabretooth in X-Men Origins. Woo.
Oh, cool.
Linda Blair has a cameo. Linda Blair shows up as a reporter for a hot second. Do you guys
Yeah.
know who Linda Blair is?
Yeah,
Okay.
Linda Blair is the girl that plays Regan in The Exorcist.
Yes, she is the girl in The Exorcist who is possessed.
Yeah, I knew that because
Exactly.
I just know what she looks like. So when I saw it, I was like, oh, yeah, I forgot she's in the.
Yeah, which is funny because I had never seen The Exorcist the first time I saw this movie, and now that I've seen The Exorcist, I'm like, hey, that's pretty cool that she's in it and everything.
Yeah.
We have Wes Craven actually has a cameo too. He's the janitor, when
and he's wearing
Henry
like the,
Winkler
And he's
comes
wearing
out.
the Freddy
he's wearing
sweater.
like the Freddy's jet sweater. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
he's
that-
very great. And then speaking of, Henry Winkler is in this movie too, which is
Yeah.
principal.
amazing.
Good
I
old
had no
Fonz.
idea he was in this.
I love
Yeah, it's
everything
great.
that Henry Winkler does.
Oh, he's the nicest guy ever. I love hearing interviews with him.
Yeah,
he's so
he just
cool.
seems just like he just loves his life, and he is just he's actually just really funny and really smart and really good at playing that
Yeah.
role.
Oh,
Yeah.
he's great at it. I love it. Did you guys see that the Fonz jacket was hanging up in his closet?
Yeah,
Oh,
That's
I
the
missed
legit,
that completely.
That's the legit
It's the actual
Fonz
Fonz
jacket,
jacket.
from the Happy Days. Yeah,
That's
they
cool.
let him
I
use
love
it.
when movies do that.
yeah,
Yeah,
Me
and
too.
then this movie's produced by Harvey Weinstein. Oof,
Ugh, ugh.
kind of ruins
That's
it.
why
a
when you're
little
like
bit.
in Harvey when you're like in the producer who I'll bring up later, I was like, oh, I know who it is. So
Well, the
awful.
producer who talked to the MPAA was Harvey Weinstein's son.
Oh,
He's also a producer on this.
Harvey
Krager made
Weinstein
a,
Jr.
I was hanging out with Krager yesterday at Pocock, and he made a funny. We were playing Monopoly Empire, and we've played this game so many times that so many things have spilled over this game: beer, wine,
Right,
and there was some money that clear red wine stains all over it. And Jordan Griffin goes, "What the hell happened to this?" And Krager goes, "Oh, it's Harvey Weinstein."
That is the only Krager's only funny like 1 out of 60 shots, but that
Yeah,
one
I know.
that one is electric.
It's
Yeah.
always the best.
Yeah,
It's always
yeah.
the best one.
Yeah.
He's got very high highs, very low lows. And then I wanted to also mention that the composer for this movie is also the same guy who composed the music for A Quiet Place. Now let that sink in. There's a composer for the movie
For A Quiet Place.
Place.
Funny and so stupid.
Which literally
But
has...
there were-
Is there even music in that movie?
There's some.
Yeah, it's all instrumental. Because I mean, there's
Yeah,
got
I
to
know,
be
there's-
music. There is no dialogue in it.
There's a few scenes I do know because I love that movie. There's a few scenes where they have like kind of the
Like the violins
build up and everything. Yeah, and that's about it. But I just thought that was so funny. I'm like the composer of A Quiet Place, which
Yeah, super
literally
funny.
is it's pretty funny.
This movie
so I'm
plays
gonna
a song
explain-
a lot that I really like. It's called Red Right Hand.
I've
can't
never
even think of
where did
the,
it play that?
The
Where did it
artist.
play it in the movie?
It plays it twice in Scream.
Well, did you guys notice at the very beginning when Sydney's being a tease with Billy and not letting him do any under the clothes stuff? They're playing an acoustic version of "Don't Fear the Reaper."
Mm-hmm. I did notice that.
That was cool. I was like, oh, that man really sets the stage for this movie. I like it. I'm gonna explain this movie to you guys very quickly here. Oh, yes, it's time for Jordan to explain the movie quickly.
Oh, yeah, it's time for Jordan to explain the movie quickly.
A good lesson of why you should never, ever give your virginity to anyone other than your spouse who you have thoroughly vetted and passed through rigorous mental health tests.
Way to go, junior high sex ed.
Woo, yeah,
I feel
abstinence saves lives.
I feel like the moral of this movie is to live your life every day as if you're following the rules of a horror movie trope.
Joe, you know how
Which
fast
are-
you and I would be dead?
Yeah, you guys be dead in 2 seconds. You like literally in 5 minutes. You'd be like, you'd have sex.
I'd be
then
like,
you'd have
oh,
a
I'll be right
swig of
back.
beer,
Go have
and be like,
sex.
I'll be right back.
Yeah.
Yeah. So funny. All right, let's talk about the plot of this movie. So we start off with Drew Barrymore and her boyfriend Steve, who get killed. The ghost face then tries, or we find out that Sydney, the main girl of the story, her mom was murdered a year ago. So this is going to tie in here. We have Ghostface, who then tries to kill Sydney in her house while her dad's out of town, but Billy shows up to save her. But then Billy gets suspicion of being the killer, and this is
He
where
has
we
a
realize
cellular phone.
Yeah, it's a cellular.
Exactly, and we realize in this movie that it's going to be a lot of who's the killer and a lot of red herrings of like, oh, it could be this person, it could be this person, it could be this person.
I had a question about this scene.
Mm-hmm.
When she starts making her popcorn catches on fire. When she runs back from the kitchen after she realizes Ghostface is going after her, she sees the fire and everything. Would a normal person have any sort of reaction to the fire itself, or does Ghostface trump all panic?
I think if you're a woman alone in your home and a guy says he can see you and is doing this and you're trying frantically to lock the door, your priority probably isn't turn your back,
The
put
fire.
the fire out, you know?
Yeah, the fire is less imminent than someone chasing after you.
That's what
So
I was
feel like
thinking
you just
as
let the
well,
fire
but at
be.
least it prompted that question.
Well, you know what was also super weird is so she's on the phone and then they're like, hey, look outside, and her boyfriend's outside, and then she freaks out and goes down. She like pulls the plug from the lamp for some reason, and they really focus. They like show her pulling the plug of the lamp. Why? I'm like, was that
doesn't even play later on?
It's because
No,
her
it
light's
doesn't-
about to go out, guys.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I don't know.
So,
I don't know why, but that's something I could tell my students and be like, oh, okay, cool.
That was definitely the most gruesome part of the movie, though.
Oh yeah, definitely having some guts spilling out of some people, definitely gruesome. So when Sydney was being chased, she does this thing because her phone line's cut. She instant messages 911. Was that a thing that you could instant
Yes.
message phone numbers back in the 90s?
Yes.
I didn't know that. I had no
Only
idea.
for that kind of emergency scenario
Interesting. So that was
that I
pretty
remember,
funny.
I think.
I guess it makes sense because our internet was connected to our phone lines.
Yeah.
So I guess
Yeah.
it makes
When
sense
was
to
it?
send things to the phone
96?
line. 96.
So
yeah.
texting wasn't a thing yet, but
No.
instant messaging, yeah, I think so.
We
Yeah,
know instant messaging
I'd buy
was
it.
because they do it in Clueless,
Yeah.
and Clueless came out before this movie.
It probably worked similarly to like a pager.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
So that was kind of funny. So Sydney's dad is also a suspect now because they can't find Sydney's dad on his business trip anywhere. And we have the principal gets killed down the line.
Poor Winkler.
I have a question. Yeah,
After
Principal
he
Winkler.
suspends classes.
Yes, he suspends the classes. Principal Winkler gets killed. Now, they knock on the door, and then he opens it, like, right away. How could they have left that quickly? I don't think they could have run away from the door that quickly. So there's something weird going on there.
They
where, like,
could have. I think they could have.
that was a long hallway.
If you're like reaching over, just real quick tap knock, run into a different room. There were other doorways that were right there.
Do you remember how fast you were when you were a teenager?
No,
Yeah,
I
you could
wasn't
slip
fast
in
at all.
between doors as they're about to close.
Yeah, you were like, and you can like, you could like jump into a closing elevator somehow, and like only the tip of your toe would touch, and then you'd be like, haha, I did it.
Yeah, I jumped through
Yeah,
the
then you would
elevators, it's
jump in
closing,
the
and then
elevator?
Oh yeah,
I jumped through the elevator doors, it's closing, and then I'd reach back and grab my fedora hat and be like, oh, okay,
and your
got
wallet
it.
chain would get stuck.
Yeah, and then I'd be like, no.
Your wallet chain.
I did have one. Also, was it weird seeing Madison brought this up, and I didn't realize it until she said it, and then I couldn't unsee it. That principal's office, no computers anywhere. Computerless.
I mean, that's
Well, they're
right
all
in
paper.
that time, though.
Yeah, it's weird seeing an office, though, with no computers
It's
now.
super weird, but also think, too, if they do live outside the city, they may not have gotten enough money to get a computer, or all the
it's all
computers
based
are in
on
a
funding.
computer lab. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's move forward now. So Stu's throwing a party because school got suspended, and they're like, "Hey, let's throw a big party." And this is when most of the movie happens.
Hang on,
actually
I have a question, because it was something
Yes.
that I thought of when this first attack on Sydney happens, and she goes and lives with what's her name,
Tatum.
Tatum. Were they in her bedroom?
Yeah.
At her
she
house?
She had her 2 little twin
Who
beds.
has 2 twin beds in her
Yeah.
in their bedroom?
So here's the thing that I'm thinking it might be. These people seem to be affluent people. The houses are huge, the rooms are huge. Or she has her friends over so much that they do have a second bed in there because her friends sleep over so often.
Could be. Also, it's just stupid. Yeah, and if I was rich enough, oh yeah, dude, Joe, I'm with you. Like, if I was rich enough, I'd have a room of 2 king mattresses that are pushed together for me only.
It could have been the spare. It could have been the spare twin bed from the guest room that they brought into her room.
Right. Also, yeah, it's just weird. It just looks weird. I don't like it.
Yeah. Did we lose Joe again?
Yeah, he looks a little frozen still.
Oh my gosh, this happens every week. It's because his computer's so slow. Oh man, another editing nightmare. Okay, let's keep moving real quick.
It's also
here.
just because
And
he
Joe
watches so much porn on it.
That's it. He's got viruses all over his computer. He's putting mustard in the CD tray. It's crazy.
You mean the bologna holder?
The bologna holder. Yeah, exactly. Joe's face looks so funny. Joe, if you can hear us, we can't hear you. Figure it out. Okay, so moving on to Stu's party. Tatum ends up dying in the garage during this party. Hashtag nipples.
The whole time.
Yeah, the whole time nipples. Randy ends up giving us the rules of horror films like we talked about.
Which is great. That's a really, really awesome portion. Because he's all emphatic about it. And he's like, no, guys, listen, this is how it works. And then you have like your stupid teenagers that are like, they have no idea that the killer's like in the house. And they're like, this is dumb, you know? And like heckling.
Yeah,
him.
exactly.
It's so good.
Well, you know what was funny too is he's watching Halloween. And he's yelling at Jamie Lee Curtis, Jamie, look behind you.
Yeah.
Jamie, look behind you. And his real name is Jamie.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like even more meta in that sense, too. So Sydney and Billy have sex. She gives it up, which means now she's susceptible to being killed per the rules of horror films.
Right.
But then Ghostface shows up and kills Billy, or so we think.
Right.
We find out later that Stu and Billy, it's 2 killers, actually. It's not just one person. Stu and Billy were the killers.
Which is a good twist.
Which is a great twist. And Billy was actually, it was a fake murder, a fake killing, so he's not actually dead. And so Billy's whole motivation is Sydney's mom was having an affair with his dad.
And it broke his family up.
Yeah, it broke his family up. So Billy went a little crazy and killed Sydney's mom.
More
and
than a
framed
little
someone
crazy.
else. More than a little crazy, but he framed someone else who went to jail for it.
Yeah.
And now he's trying to frame the dad because he kidnapped the dad, and he's going to have it look like a murder-suicide. So Sydney and the dad are dead. The whole family's killed, and then Billy and Stu are going to be stabbed, so they look like they were just collateral damage but made it out alive.
Right.
And that's what's going to happen. And Stu's motivation is just that he's nuts.
Stu is insane.
I love Matthew Lillard's performance of the over-the-top craziness of this scene. It works so well. It's so good. So Stu and Billy stab each other, and it's kind of like almost like a dark Three Stooges. During these
it's like
moments.
really, really slapsticky, but like real hard to watch.
Yeah, real hard to watch, especially because like he's like gurgling blood and stuff. He's like, "Oh,
He's
Billy,
like, you got
man,
me too
stabbed
deep,
me
man.
deep.
That's not how
You
it's
got me
supposed to
deep."
go.
Yeah, it was rough. So Stu ends up.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, cool. So Stu ends up being, like, electrocuted by a TV. Like, Sydney drops
So
a
good.
TV on his head, and he gets electrocuted. And then Billy ends up getting shot. So they're both dead. And we have Sydney, Randy, Dewey, Gail, and the dad all make it out alive.
Right.
At the end. Which is funny because Dewey was really shoehorned in at the end living because originally in the script, Dewey was supposed to die in this moment. But Wes Craven also filmed scenes of Dewey living, and after test audience said one of the things they hated was that Dewey died, he let Dewey live.
Oh.
So they filmed both options just in case. And that's why it feels really shoehorned in at the end there, because Dewey wasn't supposed to live.
No, I mean, like, he gets wrecked.
Yeah, he looks dead. Like, when Gale Weathers falls on him, he's not breathing.
Yeah.
He looks dead. So that's kind of funny there. All right, let's talk about some fun facts.
Fun facts.
What is facts? Baby, they're fun. They're fun. Oh, yeah. What is facts? Baby, they're fun. They're fun. Oh, yeah. At the beginning of the movie, the dad tells the mom to go to the McKinsey's house.
Mm-hmm.
That's the same thing Jamie Lee Curtis tells the kids to do in the Halloween.
Oh,
to go
that's
to the
cool.
McKinsey's.
I didn't pick that up.
So it's a fun little Easter egg there. The high school scenes were to be shot at Santa Rosa High School in the script, but they were denied. Okay, so they were supposed to be filmed at Santa Rosa High School. However, very close to the shooting date, the school board read the script and denied the film to be shot there due to the violent nature, as they had been under the impression the film was a comedy, and the production had to be moved to Healdsburg, California. As a payback, the director, Wes Craven, put in the end credits under the special thanks section, "No thanks whatsoever to the Santa Rosa City School District Governing Board."
That's awesome.
So he called them out in the credits.
That's great. Yeah, that just puts such a ding on production. Like,
yeah, it kills you, man.
that would bury you, and that could be
strict.
a project killer. Like, if that were to happen and you were in ties and then that just went away, that could kill your project.
Yeah, so, I mean, good on him for calling them out.
Yeah.
Matthew Lillard got the part because he was accompanying his girlfriend on an audition for a different movie, and when he was in the halls waiting, the casting director saw him and was like, hey, recognized him from something else, said, hey, why don't you come audition for this part? He wasn't even there to audition. Like, he got noticed by the casting director and was like, hey, you should try and audition for this
What
part.
a dream come true for a young actor, dude.
Yeah, and Matthew Lillard went in there and just went way over the top with it, thinking like, I didn't even know I was auditioning today. I don't care. And they loved it.
That's crazy.
Most of the funny things that happened for his character, he ad-libbed. Like, the whole part was like, my mom and dad are going to be so mad, man.
Yeah.
He ad-libbed that.
That's awesome. Like, I totally believe that, too, though, because he's funny.
Oh, he's so funny. I love Matthew Lillard's great.
Yeah.
That guy is great.
He's smart. He's a smart dude.
He is, yeah. It's said that Wes Craven kept telling Drew Barrymore about animal cruelty stories to keep her scared and sad while she was filming.
Yeah, because she's a big advocate for animal rights.
Oh, huge.
Big time.
So this movie was very weird. It only opened with a $6 million weekend, and every subsequent weekend, it started getting more and more box office money through word of mouth.
That's really impressive, too.
Yeah, opening weekend, they thought it was going to be a flop of a movie, and then it started building, and made $103 million or whatever I said.
Well, now,
through the
like,
whole run.
Scream fans, there's, like, some of the most loyal fans of the franchise.
Oh, yeah. You know what's funny is I love in Scream 4 that Rory Culkin is like the Randy character in it, because I feel like the Rory Culkin, I think, legitimately is super into like that, like this type of film stuff and everything. Yeah. So it's very fun to see him actually
like
get
Rory
to be a part
Culkin,
of
man.
Like
He's
that.
he's so
great.
cool.
He was so good in Waco.
Oh yeah,
I love him in Waco. So great.
And Scott Pilgrim.
Yes. Oh, that's right. Dude, he's like the best character.
I know. He's amazing.
I love his character. So Wes Craven sold the rights to Nightmare on Elm Street. So he wasn't involved in any Nightmare on Elm Street except the first one, which is why he wrote the line about the sequel sucking that Drew Barrymore says.
That's funny.
Yes. We talked about the MPAA with the whole NC-17 thing.
Right.
The house in the opening scene where Drew Barrymore is right next door to the house used in Cujo.
No way.
Yeah, which I've never seen Cujo, so I didn't know. But I'm like, how funny is that two
iconic
movie houses are right next door to each other?
Yeah, that's cool. That'd be like
That's
the same
so
as like
funny.
if the Poltergeist house was on that street and like something else.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
That'd be cool.
Exactly. Although the killers... Oh, I already told you about this. It's the Father Death costume. Henry Winkler was asked to go uncredited, so he didn't detract from the younger stars. So he's not actually credited for this movie, even though he's a pretty prominent role in it.
Long-form cameo?
Yeah, essentially. Yeah, so he doesn't really show up much. I don't think he shows up in the credit sequence at all.
No.
Because isn't that what
uncredited
is?
means, yeah, they don't even acknowledge
You don't show your name at all? Okay, cool. I didn't know if there's like some weird like movie thing where it's like, no, you're in the credits, but you don't get like a production
like,
credit
top
or
billing.
something.
Yeah, no, you don't get
Yeah.
anything.
Wes Craven is the killer in the robes in the first scene. So he's the one dressed in the robes in that. Yeah, pretty cool. they cut out a line from the original script, which I kind of wish they would have kept in. And you can view it, the script online with this line in it, is when they originally had Sydney pointing the gun at Billy's head and then shooting him, not Gale, but Sydney shooting him, and saying, "That's for having an itty-bitty little weenie."
That's such a bad line. It's such a bad line, but like it would be really funny to make fun of.
I would have loved it. I would have loved it.
Yeah, you would. But like at the same time, like, you know, it's like I see where that comes from. It's like, oh, like he took her virginity and she's terrible, and like she's gonna like emasculate him right before she kills him, right?
Yeah,
but, like,
I know. I love it. So good.
Yeah.
All right, so let me tell you about some fan theories that are going on here with this movie. There's a fan theory that Dewey is the mastermind behind all the murders.
What?
And it's mostly because in every movie, he's always around the murders and always somehow gets like knocked out of action, but never killed. So they're thinking that there's
just
some
a
type
bad,
of
dumb
association.
cop. That's like,
Yeah,
that's
he just has dumb luck, is what it is.
He's
Just
doofy.
dumb luck. Yeah, he is doofy. He's 100% doofy.
Yeah.
There's a theory that the Ghostface costume is supernatural because they get beat up so much, but keep being able to go.
Yeah.
And I guess in every subsequent movie, it gets a little bit more and more with him, like whoever's in the Ghostface costume. It's like falling off like third-story buildings and still being able to get up from that and stuff like that.
I mean, it's the same thing with like any kind of horror villain, right? Like
it's like the Michael Myers mask.
Yeah, you can't stop them. You can't.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
that's what makes it scary, is because they're persistent. Like they have these superhuman abilities, even though it's not like, oh, they're like a super villain like with powers.
Yeah.
It's like no matter what you do as a human, you're not safe.
It's like Captain Hookhand from I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Yeah. Or just when you said Captain Hookhand, I almost just went, his name's Captain Hook from Peter Pan.
different person.
I was like, he's just regular style Captain Hook.
Captain Hook. And then the final theory I have here is that there is a proposed third killer. And the third killer is supposed to be someone that's helping out Stu and Bill. And we don't find out until the third movie that it's like, I forget whose name it is. It's like it's like Sydney's half brother or something in the third movie. And he apparently was helping Stu and Billy in the first movie and something. I don't know. But there was a theory that Tatum was involved with the killings with Stu and Billy, and then they backstabbed her and killed her afterwards because they were scared she
That
was
would be
gonna
an
talk.
interesting layer.
I can't believe it though when you watch the movie. Like
No.
Tatum looks too much like she cares about Sydney. To be
She
doing
cares
this to
way
her.
too much about her best friend and knows what's going on
Yeah.
and all that stuff. Yeah.
So Kevin Williamson also said that when he was writing, it was either the third or fourth script, he had an idea that what he wanted the twist ending to be is that every person who was killed in every previous movie came back and said it was an elaborate ruse that all of them did to mess with Sydney. Like
Just
the
to
mom
torment her?
Yeah, the mom comes back, Stu, Billy, everyone who's died, Tatum, they all just did it to torment her. And he was like, I couldn't justify like the mom doing it.
Yeah,
and
a
stuff
mom
like
wouldn't
I
do that.
I couldn't find a good reason, and he was also like, people hate movies where they're like, it was fake the whole time. So, but he really wanted to do something along those lines as one of the twists.
That'd be interesting, but I also would. You know what? I would hate it.
I would hate it.
Yeah,
too.
every audience would feel cheated.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And you don't want your audience to feel like they wasted their time.
No,
you want them to keep coming back.
You want them to believe that story is real in that world, and you like it. You know.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so that's the episode. That's we watched Scream. We were better for it. We loved the movie.
Yeah.
And if you like listening to us talk about something that we didn't write or create, we're creators about things we didn't create. It's great. This is podcasts are so interesting.
Yeah.
You can leave us a rating or a review on our or on the Apple Podcast app. If you leave us a review, we'll send you a sticker. It's very much appreciated. Thank you, Cam, for being here. I'd say thank you to Joe for being here, but his dumb computer keeps freezing.
Yeah,
on.
man. My computer's only 1 year old, so it's not going to crap out on it.
Yeah, and my computer's fine. We really need to. Joe needs to like figure out. He needs to go like on his phone or something. Like we need to do a different way of doing this.
New Patreon tier. Buy Joe a computer.
Buy Joe a computer. Give us $5,000. Buy us all computers.
Oh, I'll have just a podcasting computer. That'd be so
Yeah.
stupid.
That would be awesome. All right, so thanks, Cam. And finally, thank you to our listeners. We love getting wrecked with you. We will talk to you all next week.
Yeah, bye, I love you. I like and I love you all.
Goodbye, everybody.
No, Krager says prison wallet.
Oh, yeah, prison wallet. He hasn't said that in so long. It's the best.
Say a prayer for the youth of America. God bless our youth, America. And I can't stand this anymore. All the dead kids.
It is the best. All right. Should we try and get Joe back on this episode for the Patreon?
Yeah,
Or
if we
should
can
just
get if we can get him back.
Let me text him real quick and say, can you get back on?
Dude, I'm so happy we watched that 30 Rock episode. I called my dad after, and he and I were just like crying, laughing because I was reminding him of all the parts of that episode specifically.
It's a funny episode. Like there were. The problem with 30 Rock is there's so many jokes though that go under the radar because they're so absurd they don't actually make sense. But when they do land, like when he said, "God, Lemon, when did you find the time to eat a dirty diaper you found on the beach?"
Yeah. I
was dying.
There's that. I also just love the line. She's like, Peppy Bismilk. Why is everything just a little bit different in the sound?
Yeah, he's like Schweppes ginger bale or something.
Yeah, Schwab's ginger bale. Or Jonger bale.
Right, so dumb. All right, Joe says just start, and he'll keep trying to get on.
Okay.
We'll
Man.
start.
Wreck my podcast.